Good morning, how are you today? Hope you've been well. To start off this look, I go in with a flat applicator brush and the color Dark Green by Global Colors Body Paints. Now, while I'm applying with the applicator brush, I'm blending out with a very dense blending brush because this is going to be a night sky, and I wanted it to be as less streaky as I can. Don't judge this, just hang in there. And I use this technique because any harsh edges, I wanted them to not be so harsh, and it allows me to apply layers more evenly and blend them out and get a nicer blend. And I know how goofy I look, just go with it. I decided to go straight into the beauty makeup for this look, and I've made a crucial mistake here, but we'll talk about that later. I've used Bonnie in the Gemini palette for this part, but any black eyeshadow will do to create a smoky look on that eyelid and a little bit underneath because, for obvious reasons. The crucial mistake that I made was I didn't go in with a cream first, and the eyeshadow unfortunately clings on to the watercolor even though it's dried, and I can't blend it evenly. So in retrospect, what I would advise is using a cream shadow or a base for that black eyeshadow and taking it from there, because as you'll see later on, I am not able to cover the entire lid in black shadow. Okay, moving on. I'm taking a slightly smaller applicator brush here and a very lime green, and I'm just creating swirls on my face. I decided on the shape earlier, and even though I had done that, it made me a little stressed because I knew one swipe wrong and I've ruined the whole look. But that's alright. I've decided to make like an S on my face, and I expand on that. I do it in a way that feels sort of balanced to me, like it'll be thicker on this side, but there'll be 2 or 3 strands on the other side because I don't like even looks. I think we've established this already. But this one's really up to you. You can look at a reference image here, or you can just go with it. There are no rules, really. And in any case, this is the first layer of this color we're doing. So don't be afraid to play around with it. Every look is going to be unique. You're not going to recreate the same thing twice. You can also decide how and where your lights are going to taper off into the distance, or if they're going to connect to other lights. It's an aurora borealis, it's the northern lights. They're always unpredictable and they're always different. My second application of the same color, lime green, is to accent the high points. So what in beauty makeup we would call highlight points. We do this with the more opaque version, which is just, I don't know, more product, less water. With that same brush now, I've added a little water to that color and I'm swiping it up in order to create those lights. It's not going to look neat when you do apply those vertical lights, but when you accent where the base is of those lights, it blends everything together and it looks like it's there on purpose anyway. Remember that this part as well doesn't need to be even. These are lights that have hit the earth in a certain angle and they're not going to be a sheet. They're going to be flary and whatnot. And then do the same thing on your chest. With your chest, you can play around with more variations of tapering off lights, more thickness in some places, thinness in others. And it's also easier to do the neck and chest for 2 reasons. 1, it's less 3D than the face, and 2, you've already done the face. The hardest part is over, and you've gotten a grip of how it's done. So you can go in with more confidence, play around with it, and yeah, just repeat what you did on the face onto the chest, with highlights as well. So the vertical lights need highlight as well. You can add that as you taper off the horizontal bits. So you add the lights to the horizontal flares and you swipe them up. Again, none of this has to be even. I've decided to blend now the lime green with white body paint just to add a little more highlight for the highlight portions of that look, and I begin to swipe both up and down now, because Northern Lights have those flares going both ways. I started off with the highlights just so I could get a feel of blending in this area, and then I get a little more comfortable with it, and later on I go in with the green. And I'm using a smaller, it's a flat brush still, but it is smaller. You can add highlights anywhere you wish. I'm adding them to the high points of my face and the points that stick out anyway, like my nose, my cheekbones, my forehead, and my upper lip. Onto the neck and chest, I'm adding my highlights on the curves of the lights more than I am onto the straight parts of the lights because, I don't know, I'm trying to make it more 3D. It does end up working. And to blend that out a little bit, because I've added a little too much product there, I do just dab it with my finger and it works out just fine. And just keep doing that until you're satisfied with how that step looks. Once you're done with that, add some stars. I've dipped into that white body paint that I have with a duo fiber brush, and I've made it very opaque so there's not as much water on it, and I'm just flicking it onto me. Because, it works really well. The stars bunch up in a lot of places and taper out in other places, and it is not as time consuming as adding stars individually, which, don't do that, don't waste your time. With just plain white body paint now and a very fine detail brush, I go over the already highlighted high points and bring them out even more, because why not? These are lights. I didn't want to make this look Christmassy, I did want to focus on the winter aspect, but pine trees are a winter tree, so we're going with that. I used an angled brush to create a few trees just to see if I could do it how I liked it, and then I'm painting the rest of my chest here in black body paint. I'm using the same technique as I did with the green night sky, buffing it out and making it like a seamless blend, and then just going in again with that angled brush and creating some trees. These are probably some of the easiest trees. They don't have to look too neat because they are silhouetted, but these trees are pretty easy to make, and it doesn't matter, I mean, they're trees. It doesn't matter how perfect they look. I was originally just going to make a couple, I ended up covering my entire chest in trees. The blending technique actually worked out really well because I didn't want a harsh line separating the silhouetted part of this painting to the night sky. I did want it to look like, you know when it's cold and there's mist? That. Which it kind of did, so I can't complain about that one. Okay, here's attempt number 2 at that smoky eye shadow. It doesn't work as well as I want. It grabs onto the body paint, and again, like if I were to do it again, I would have done it with a cream. I've mentioned in all my body painting videos that creams blend beautifully over water-based body paints. I don't know what happened, I was too in the zone and I didn't even think about it. When I finished the look, I looked over at my cream paints and I was like, oh man, I could have used cream paints. Instant regret, what are you gonna do? If you're like me and do forget to do a step like that, just try your best. No one's gonna care if you do it wrong. And this is how we learn anyway. So just do that as best you can, hopefully better than I did. Remember to line the inside of your eyes. I'm using my Aqua Resist color pencil by Makeup Forever, and my lashes didn't even want to stick today. They didn't want to stick, so I'm just using mascara. This one's by Bobbi Brown. I think I coated it about 2 times on both the upper and lower lashes, just because I couldn't get my lashes to stick. And that's it. That's the final look. I really love this. It turned out so much better than I had anticipated. I'm really proud of this look, and I hope you enjoyed the process. And I actually hope you give this a try. If you do attempt to paint like this, and you post it to Instagram for instance, please tag me. I'd love to see this stuff. It brings me so much joy when people paint. But regardless, it was a lot of fun. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.